did you think when you first saw Gilda Radner do you? And I wonder what that first moment was like when you met Gilda. Because we all tell people it doesn't bug us, but it does initially.
Me. But this was also when I was in such a failure in the news, and she was doing Baba Wawa, which some people still do, and I still don't like it. My daughter, who was then a very little girl, what she was doing up so late, I don't know, said to me, was watching and said, "Oh, Mommy, lighten up." And then when I met Gilda Radner, I said to her, "Do me." I mean, she was so nervous that we met. And she did, I mean, exactly. But it turns out that we had the same makeup person at NBC who knew how I sat and what I did. And when she died, I wrote to her husband, Gene Wilder, and I said, "She made me laugh. She will be missed." And I signed it, Baba Wawa.
You couldn't have put this book out if your sister was still alive,
No,
your father, right?
I could not have written this book if my sister, my mother, and my father were alive. And the hardest chapter for me to write was a chapter about my daughter, who had just a terrible adolescence. I mean, I didn't know whether to kill her or kill myself. And she's wonderful now. I mean, she runs a therapeutic wilderness camp for adolescent girls in crisis. Everything she put me through. And I said to her, "Jackie, my sister," I named my daughter after my sister for reasons I think you can understand. I said, "We don't have to do this." And she said, "I want us to, Mom, because I want people to understand that if we could make it, other people can make it." And I feel that with a lot that's in the book, that people can relate to it. But one of the things that she said, because my daughter's very funny, at least I think so, my daughter's adopted. And she has felt that many adopted children feel an emptiness inside that's very hard to fill. And at one point, I said to her, "Would you like me to try to find your biological mother?" Because she had never expressed any interest, so I thought I'll bring it up. And I said, "You know, we're close enough, I won't be hurt. Would you like me to try to find her?" And she said, "I've had so much trouble with you. Why would I want another one?"
That's a nice bit of comic relief for you at one point, isn't it? I mean, and I ask you this not as the person who's on television, but I mean, having that as your reality and then realizing you're so good at a lot of different things, but when your family, in a sense, starts to fall apart, it's hard to learn how to fix something when you don't know how to fix something, especially when so much your focus is on another part of your life.
Well, I think that a lot of my striving and a lot of the book is going through what a great many people go through. I used to think just women, but men too these days, and that is, how do you balance a relationship, marriage, whatever, a career and children? And it's almost impossible to find that balance. And I give two examples of two women named Hepburn, of Katharine Hepburn, who never wanted children and said, you know, "Oh, little Johnny or little Katie forgive my terrible imitation. If little Katie or little Johnny got in my way, I'd say, 'Out of my way, out of my way.'" So she never had.
That's a great impression.
Well, I've done it. I've done it more than once, but never to her. And the other Hepburn was Audrey Hepburn, whom we may forget gave up her career at the height because she had two little boys and didn't feel she could do both. So I've tried myself to try to find that balance, and I haven't been that good at it. I haven't been very good at marriage. My daughter, Knock Glass, has, you know, come out wonderfully well. The career has had big ups and big downs, and I think today more than ever, we are all striving. We have single mothers and single fathers and gay parents and married parents. We're all trying so hard to find that balance, and it's difficult.
I wonder if it even exists. I wonder if they told us that balance is out there and it's not there.
I think it's easier than it was, because I think you have men playing a part in the bringing up of the children, which, you know, didn't used to be the case. It wasn't considered very masculine if you changed the diaper or, you know.
And if you did, you were smoking. Right at the same time.
At the same time. That's hard to balance.
Yes. When you look back on it, do you think of those, you almost forget you've done some of that stuff?
Well, when I was looking at the pictures that are in the book, I did have that. Did I do that? Do I do that? I sometimes say, now I'm being more serious, I sometimes say, I wish I'd taken the time to enjoy it more. But I think a lot of us do that. We're so busy doing this, and this, and this, and this, that we don't sit back and say, oh, you know, wasn't that interesting, or wasn't that wonderful? Now I can, but,
sure.
You know.
Do you remember the moment where you kind of looked around and said, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so smug to say I'm good, I'm okay, doesn't it? I think when I left 2020, which was 4 years ago, I left because I was getting a little tired of doing celebrities out of rehab and not doing presidents and heads of state and so forth. And I decided then, and then The View was going strong, that I was in a very good place in my life and a good place in my head, and that I didn't have to climb any more mountains. I had a very close friend who died last year named Beverly Sills, who was a great operatic soprano.
I saw her on The Muppet Show when I was a kid.
Wasn't she wonderful?
She
was. I mean, she could do shows with Carol Burnett, and yet she had, she could be funny, and yet had this, wonderful voice. Anyway, when she left the Metropolitan Opera, her husband gave her a ring that had an inscription. And 10 years later, when she left as the director of the New York City Opera, she took the ring off her finger and she put it on mine. And the ring said, "I did that already." And I began to feel, I did that already. I don't have to tear down walls or climb walls. I did that already. So it was at that point that I could write what I wanted to be, a very honest book. Otherwise, I didn't see any reason to.